I'm Emily Summers, host of Unheld, our Unspoken Stories, breaking the silence of miscarriage and loss. This is episode 2, The Forgotten Griever, a father's perspective on loss. Welcome to Unheld, our Unspoken Stories, breaking the silence of miscarriage and loss. Today I'm sitting down with my husband of 19 years, Nathan. Together, we are the parents to 9 children. 3 who are earthside that we get to raise, and 6 unseen children who we lost through miscarriage. Welcome, Nathan. Thank you for being here. In this episode, we are breaking the silence around fatherhood and partner grief surrounding pregnancy loss. Grief is so often focused solely on the person who carried the pregnancy, while dads are frequently ignored or expected to be the strong one, leaving them to process their pain in total isolation. If you are a partner who has felt invisible, or someone who wants to know how to support a grieving dad, we are so glad you are here. Nathan, thank you for stepping into this space with me today.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
When we first experienced a loss, what were the immediate thoughts and feelings going through your mind?
For the first loss that we had, I didn't even know that you were pregnant for sure until you had the miscarriage. And it didn't seem real to me. It didn't seem like it was anything that was related to me, to be honest.
Over time, as we faced loss more than once, did that initial feeling of hearing the news change?
Definitely. Not all of the miscarriages were the same. The more that I got to experience the pregnancy myself, obviously I didn't experience it in the same way you did, but every day that I was with that child, every time that I saw them on the ultrasound, they became a little more part of my life. And the first one that was really hard for me was Enoch. He was the one that lasted second to longest of all the children that we had. And, I was totally expecting Enoch to be somebody that we lived the rest of our lives with. And it was just a shock when it wasn't. And it really hurt a lot.
I remember after we lost Enoch, you making the remark that was it. We are going to name our next baby Methuselah.
After that, I kind of realized that we were seeing a pattern here, and I didn't let myself hope too much at first. And that made it a little easier for the other ones. But with the last miscarriage we had, he was the one that lasted the longest of all of our children, and I let myself hope that he would come. And so that one was really hard.
I agree. Grief looks different for everyone. How did your grief manifest? Did you throw yourself into work, seek solitude, or process it through action?
For me, part of me really did just want to get back to work, to feel like I was back to normal, I guess. And I did do a lot of seeking solitude ever since I was a kid. When I needed to process my emotions, I needed to do it alone.
I totally understand that feeling of just wanting the world to be normal again. When a baby dies in the womb, the father also loses their baby. The future they were on track to have with that child is gone. Did you ever find yourself silently grieving those missed milestones during everyday moments, like watching our living children grow up and realizing someone was missing?
I think more like occasionally when I see somebody on Facebook that has a moment or milestone with their child, then I remember my children that will never have those milestones. But I think it's more the everyday moments, and I'm just reminded of that fact, and I miss them.
What were specific future moments or milestones that you found yourself grieving the most?
I think what I grieve the most is just getting to know my kids and realizing who they are as a person and connecting with them emotionally.
Sitting in a doctor's office or ultrasound room when something is wrong is a unique kind of heavy for a partner. You're watching everything happen in real time to the person you love. What was it like sitting in those ultrasound rooms or hospital settings from a partner's perspective? And did you ever feel a sense of helplessness?
It wasn't just that I felt a sense of helplessness, it was a sense of double helplessness. That I couldn't change what was going on to my baby, and there was nothing that I could do to make it better for the rest of us.
When those feelings of double helplessness came up, how did you cope with them in the moment?
I did take a little bit of time for myself to process my thoughts, but mostly I just focused on you and being there for you.
Which I really appreciated. Beyond the medical side of loss, there's a huge emotional expectation placed on husbands to be the rock or the strong one for the family. Did you feel that pressure to put your own feelings aside to support me? And did you truly feel like you had permission to grieve as much as I did?
I never felt pressure from you or the family to put my own feelings aside or that I didn't have permission to grieve. I felt like I had as much right to grieve as anyone.
Going through 6 losses takes a massive toll on a relationship. How do you feel we managed to navigate that grief together as a couple without drifting apart?
Well, I think a big part is that when you talk about it like that, when you look at it overall, 6 losses is huge. It's amazingly huge. But the way that we lived it was one day at a time and in much smaller doses at a time. That made it easier. Not that it made it easy, of course.
One loss at a time.
Yes, one loss at a time.
The space between our first loss and our last loss was 13 years. So we did have some breathing room between them.
I think that we really enjoy being together, and that makes it so that we want to do what is necessary to have a good and healthy relationship.
Learning how to guide our children through the loss of their unborn siblings has been a journey. Our first pregnancy was uncomplicated and resulted in our son Adam, who is almost 18 now. For each of our miscarriages, we were processing our own grief while simultaneously parenting. What was it like for you as a father, trying to anchor and protect our children while your own heart was breaking?
I did feel that somebody needed to be strong for our kids. Even though I didn't feel any pressure from anyone else from that, I did feel that was a need that we had and that I was best suited to do that. I feel like the kids probably went to you more for their grief than for me, but I was definitely a shoulder to cry on and someone to talk to them about how they felt. Another thing that was interesting was teaching them how to navigate their grief with society. Like one of our children, for a while, whenever she met someone, one of the first things that she said was, "Most of my siblings are dead." And, you know, that is an important part of her life. But on the other hand, it kind of gave the impression that we were negligent parents. And I wasn't super keen with that. So working with how to convey those in a way that was compatible with the rest of society
Mm-hmm.
was something that we had to work with.
How has going through the loss of our babies shaped the way you view fatherhood and raising the children we have earthside?
I definitely take my kids a whole lot less for granted. And, you know, when I was single, I was like, this is the number of kids I want to have. This is the number of years I want to wait between each of them. And all of those went out the door very quickly.
Any plans that we had were scrambled. That's for sure. Dads are almost entirely ignored when a miscarriage happens. How did people respond after our losses? Did you notice a difference in how people checked in on you versus how they checked in on me?
Oh, definitely. I'm not going to say that people did a great job for you, but for me, people asked the day after, and then after that, you're back to normal now. Nothing really happened.
And I remember if people came to visit, they came to see me. Or if they brought flowers, here, Emily,
Mm.
we brought these for you.
Yeah.
Society rarely gives men space to grieve pregnancy loss. Did you feel like you were allowed to grieve, or did you feel invisible at times?
I feel like I was allowed to grieve for a couple days, and then society expected me to pretend that nothing happened or that it wasn't a big deal, to treat it like it was a pretty minor event in my life.
Did you ever feel like you had to suppress your own grief or put on a brave face just to give society the version of a strong husband and father they expected?
I wouldn't say that I suppressed my grief, but I would say that I hid it from outsiders.
Looking back, what was something someone did or could have done that made you feel truly seen, supported, or cared for during our losses?
I think there wasn't really anything that ever happened that made me feel seen.
That's sad. I think that really speaks to our society.
Even just if somebody had checked up on me, like, just a week later, then that would have been meaningful for me.
Mhm. If a friend of another dad is listening right now and wants to support him through a miscarriage, what are some ways they can reach out to the father directly?
I think first just talking to him directly instead of navigating everything through the person who lost the baby is the first thing, and being able to say, "Hey, look, you know, I know this wasn't actually a small thing, that, this was a real baby, you know?" I think that could help a lot.
One of the things grieving parents struggle with is how to parent their baby after they have died. Parenting babies who have died is deeply personal. Has there been anything that we have done that has particularly been meaningful to you in honoring our angel babies?
I think that the most meaningful to me is that we made Christmas stockings for all of our children, and that we hang them all out on Christmas Eve. And there's just something about that that makes them feel very real and very with us. It's still part of our family.
Not a forgotten part of history.
Mhm.
How do you honor or carry the memories of the babies we lost in your day to day life?
I can't say that I remember my babies every day, but what I can say is that when I do remember, I think about them. There's one thing that I would like to share. That this is going to be something that Emily didn't know that I was going to do. She's hearing this for the first time. One time when I was out taking care of our animals, I thought about how our last baby, that all I knew about him and all I'll ever know about him in life can be summarized in just a very small space. I wrote a poem about that, and I'd like to share a couple of the words from it. How do you mourn someone you don't know? How do you grieve someone who never saw you? You grieve what you know, and you mourn what you'll never know.
Thank you. I look forward to hearing the rest of that sometime. Nathan, thank you again for stepping into this space, not just with me, but with everyone listening. It takes so much courage to open up about moments that society often asks men to hold silently. To every dad and partner listening today, your grief is real, your heartbreak is valid, and your babies matter. You do not have to carry this quiet weight alone, and you don't have to put on a brave face to prove your strength. You are a parent.
Your story belongs here.
To those who support those who are grieving, thank you. If this episode spoke to you, or if you know a father who needs to hear that he isn't invisible, please consider sharing this episode with him. You can subscribe to Unheld, our Unspoken Stories, on your favorite podcast app, leave a review, or connect with us on social media.